In Pulse in particular, we've gone for a kind of effect that is my favorite. It's what I often call the non-effect. Something that you don't realize is off or different until you think about it. And we've got tons of those sorts of effects.
A lot of them deal with loneliness, isolation, and the scares are much creepier and not so much kind of blah on your face.
And you hear something in the room, and you look, you stand up, and you turn, and there's something that just starts to move in the shadows of the phantoms. There's so many options on how you can manipulate an image that when it comes to phantom design and concept design, we were able to do a lot of R&D in developing a look for a phantom that had not been seen before.
They have like computer glitches and static through them, as if they're materializing from a computer into the real world in a very aggressive and kind of creepy way. So this whole scene is no green screen. This was an actor busting through a window. I mean, cut out the actor and then add all the glitching area just to where he is. We distorted it all around, so it looks like maybe, you know, he has all these different trails of where his arms might be. Static is the signature of the Phantom. They have different layers and they move at different speeds. Their bodies distort. I thought, well, maybe I'll add the Phantom face into this kid. This ghost boy here. And if you can see it, there's like this double face that comes in and closes its mouth just for a second. I'm hoping someone will notice it and subconsciously, like, oh, what's wrong with that kid?
The particular moment where Kristen actually travels to the other world is probably my most, it's the most enjoyable moment in the film for me in terms of what we were able to provide from our end of things.
What I did to create the otherworld sequence is really build off of existing photographs. This is the start of the shot for us, and this was something we shot down in East Los Angeles on a desolate night. If we start looking at layers, we see, for example, here's the cloud layer, and the cloud layer in particular is an interesting idea because it's a cloud layer that's recycled throughout every shot of the other world, pretty much. By repeating this particular element, it starts to feel like timelessness.
Action.
Here is Maddie coming into the shot, and the particular challenges in this case are this is such a wide lens that the set, as you can see, there's no more green in the set, so all of this detail here has to be painted out by hand. All these lines represent rotoscoped lines, and they represent the shape of Maddie at different stages in the scene as she's walking through, and these help us manually cut her out of the shot. So we take all these different elements, the background, Josh, Maddie, and we put them all into one final image.
And cutting.
Okay, you gotta do another. The hands on the head just look like they're massaging here.
Jim had found a series of photographs of thousands of hands photographed together. I sat there and looked at it and thought, you know, it'd be really cool if we could take all of this and map it not only onto our signature Phantom face, but then to consider what if that face was also a geography, you know, an environment, a mountain, if you will. So what I did was I sat down and figured, well, if we just were really simple about this and shot a whole series of hands against green screen, basically take a big green screen, cut a bunch of holes in it, and have people sticking their hands through there and multiplying that in the number of takes we would have till we created sort of a giant map of nothing but undulating hands. We would then take that map and put that on top of a 3D face, which we had built into a landscape in our 3D programs.
First we start off on Maddie, full screen, the camera pulls out, and we just see the arms grabbing everywhere on her, and we don't know what that is, but then as we pull back we realize we're looking at a massive giant face that she's in the eye of. And then the camera pulls back in again and she kind of wakes up from the dream. It's supposed to be a nightmare, so they kind of wanted to make it kind of look like crawling maggots, but they're arms. The arms were duplicated over and over again and rotated and scaled and placed at different angles.
I didn't want to have to try and animate or choreograph hands without a human being there, so Kristen, being the trooper that she is, agreed to actually stand in front of the green screen as well, and we outlined her with holes that the hands would come through and start grabbing and tearing at her shirt and her hair and her face and such. we kept pushing it further and further, and the end result is a world that was always trying to reach out and tear apart our world and grab our souls.